The eastern boundary of the San Lorenzo Valley and the San Lorenzo River watershed is somewhat subtle and difficult to distinguish, looking toward Loma Prieta, the highest peak in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Ben Lomond Mountain, as the western boundary, is the most visible and therefore obvious edge, extending from its southern end at the Pogonip area of Santa Cruz to Boulder Creek, the northernmost town in the San Lorenzo Valley. The eastern-facing slope of Ben Lomond Mountain was formed by the vertical movement of the now inactive Ben Lomond Fault. Along the northern end of the mountain, the Ben Lomond Fault and Zayante Fault, which is still active today, both played an important role in the formation of the Boulder Creek area. Because of the way Boulder Creek enters the river from the west, in the area known to local residents as the Junction, and just a few hundred yards upriver, Bear Creek flows in from the east, early settlers thought the pattern they formed resembled the foot of a turkey, with the center and back toes as the San Lorenzo River, and the two side toes representing each creek.
When we examine the early newspapers, the first reference to the turkey foot is in 1874, when the crews were surveying the area for the San Lorenzo Valley Flume and Transportation Company. It is proposed to commence fluming at or near Felton and extend the work to the mouth of Boulder, Bear, and San Lorenzo Creeks, which forms a turkey foot. A year later, the area was referred to as the Forks, and in that year, during the dispute as to where the location of the post office should be, either Boulder Creek or Lorenzo, this was called the natural center of the neighborhood.
Junction Park, operated by the Boulder Creek Rec Department, is a popular spot in the summer for sunbathing and swimming, plunging off of diving rock, and community festivals. Throughout the year, there are also great opportunities for enjoying a myriad of wildlife, like mallards, wood ducks, and the elusive American dipper. As the northeastern end of Ben Lomond Mountain was uplifted vertically along the Zayante Fault, the harder granitic quartz diorite that forms the core of the mountain was exposed and broken off in irregular chunks along Boulder Creek's upper tributaries. The jagged edges of the various sized boulders were then tumbled and rounded as they were carried from their origins down into Boulder Creek, where the tumbling and smoothing continued all the way to the San Lorenzo River. Along their journey, the tumbling rocks acted like grist in a mill, carving out and exposing successive layers of the softer sedimentary sandstones, eroding away over millions of years, and helping to form Boulder Creek and parts of the Turkey Foot, cutting down deeper here than almost any other place in the San Lorenzo Valley. More recent sandstone formations were cut through, all the way down into the underlying Butano sandstone, one of the oldest sedimentary formations in the Santa Cruz Mountains, which is exposed at Junction Park's diving rock, as well as upstream along Boulder Creek in the area of its confluence with Foreman Creek, one of Boulder Creek's important tributaries. Along Boulder Creek is a beautiful riparian forest of white alders, part of a habitat that includes mineral-loving California sisters, water striders, and overwintering ladybugs. In winter, almost all of the water supply for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District comes from surface water, allowing the district to rest its wells. All of that surface water comes from Ben Lomond Mountain, and much of that surface water comes from tributaries to Boulder Creek, including Peavine, Silver, and Foreman Creeks. In the summer, the district's water supply comes from wells in the Sandhills, predominantly in the areas of Ben Lomond, Zayante, and Olympia. Above the confluence of Foreman and Boulder Creeks is the district's Boulder Creek treatment plant. Here, water is treated from the 3 tributaries to Boulder Creek, Peavine, Silver, and Foreman, along with water from the Rob Menzies 5-mile pipeline to the south, carried in from Clear Creek and Sweetwater Creek before being distributed throughout the San Lorenzo Valley. Lower Bear Creek cuts down into the same Butano sandstone formation found at the Junction and on the northeastern end of Ben Lomond Mountain. It is particularly well exposed in the area of the Bonnie Briar Gorge, which also contains mysterious rock inclusions that have strange forms, almost like burls on a redwood tree. Walking Bear Creek provides many opportunities to investigate the geology of the area.
It's definitely an inclusion inside of this, and supposedly this was laid down in a deep sea environment. But maybe this broke off.
Look how this is eroded.
Isn't that something?
Along the creek, it's also possible to discover primordial plants like liverworts, mosses, and graceful lady ferns. Not far from the Turkeyfoot area, Ben Lomond Fault is joined by the Zayante Fault, dividing the watershed into fairly distinct geological and hydrological regions. Everything north of the Zayante Fault, which includes the Bear Creek watershed, is not well suited to providing a large water supply for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District, because the underlying geological formations in this area lack the extensive granitic aquifers found south of the Zayante Fault on Ben Lomond Mountain. With the coming of winter rains, waterfalls form in steep hidden canyons all throughout the Bear Creek watershed. During one particularly heavy rain, a large Douglas fir became wedged by its root into an old cement dam above the Bonnie Briar Gorge. Fisheries biologist Don Alley was called in for his assessment of the situation.
I think this is a serious problem. If you don't have an obstruction in here, the fish can get through the dam abutment fairly easily. The first thing we need to do is get this Douglas fir out of the way, because it's caused the jump to double in height from about 4 feet at the sill of the dam to now 8 feet. And it also goes beyond the dam, so it's hanging over, which makes it even harder for the fish to get up through the slot.
Don contacted Kristen Kittleson, fishery resource planner for the county of Santa Cruz.
I think it'd be important to cut up stuff and then just leave it in place so that it has a better chance of flushing out.
After checking the obstruction, John Maugery from Santa Cruz County Public Works was able to clear the way for open water flow through the dam, averting what could have developed into a big problem. After the dam was cleared, Don and Kristen returned to check the opening. A huge problem did develop not far downstream during a torrential rainstorm in early 2017, when a failed drain pipe washed out half of Lower Bear Creek Road. The San Lorenzo Valley Water District was quick to respond to the emergency, making certain there was no interruption of water service to over 1,000 of their customers along Bear Creek Road.
We put in a bypass, an 8-inch runs through here, and it's really close to the edge of where it's broken away there. It's not exposed, but it's really close to it. So in case it does go, and when they do construction, we're going to need a bypass. So we put emergency bypass in.
Eventually, Public Works spread black plastic over the area to help prevent further sliding. The same storm caused a large log jam at the point where Bear Creek enters the San Lorenzo River. Fortunately, it was washed away a few days later as the heavy rains continued. Quiet little Boulder Creek rose to within a short distance of the Junction Park fence, carrying away huge logs as it merged with the San Lorenzo River, causing more sliding, burying the sandy beach where swimmers and sunbathers had gathered during the summer, and submerging most of Diving Rock and the Dam Down River in its rush toward the sea. Witnessing the dynamic energy of nature at work in the area of the Turkey Foot puts our human time scale into perspective in relation to geological time. Seeing the magnitude of these powerful geological processes over time helps us begin to comprehend the extraordinary forces continuously influencing this remarkable place. It has taken millions of years for the Turkey Foot to evolve into its present form, since long before human existence, and we can only speculate about what this area might be like millions of years from now.